Jose Protasio Rizal Mercado y Alonso Realonda. Who was he? Why are there so many monuments in honor of him? Why were many streets named after him? Dr. Jose Rizal is generally known to most Filipinos as the Philippines' national hero, a genius with many talents who died a martyr in the hands of the Spaniards while defending the rights of his countrymen. Let's know more about our Philippines national hero, Dr. Jose Rizal.
Advent of a national hero. Dr. Jose Rizal is a unique example of many splendid genius who became the greatest hero of a nation. Endowed by God with his versatile gifts, he truly ranked with the world's geniuses. He was a physician, poet, dramatist, essayist, novelist, historian, architect, painter, sculptor, linguist, musician, and etc. Above and beyond all this, he was a hero and a political martyr who consecrated his life for the redemption of his oppressed people. No wonder he is now acclaimed as the national hero of the Philippines. Jose Rizal was born on the moonlit night of Wednesday, June 19, 1861 in the lakeshore town of Calamba, Laguna Province, Philippines. His mother almost died during the delivery because of his big head. As he recounted many years later in his student memoirs, he was baptized in the Catholic Church of his town on June 22, 3 days old by the parish priest Father Rufino Colantes, who was a Batangueño. His godfather was Father Pedro Casanas, native of Calamba and close friend of the Rizal family. His name Jose was chosen by his mother, who was a devoted of the Christian saint San Jose. Jose Rizal was the seventh of the 11 children of Francisco Mercado Rizal and Teodora Alonso Realonda. The hero's father, Francisco Rizal, affectionately called him a model of the fathers. Doña Teodora, the hero's mother, was born in Manila on November 8, 1826. The Rizal children, Saturnina, Pasiano, Narcisa, Olympia, Luciana, Maria, Jose, Concepcion, Josefa, Trinidad, and Soledad. As a typical Filipino, Rizal was a product of a mixture of races. In his vein flowed the blood of both East and West Negrito, Indonesian, Malay, Chinese, Japanese, and Spanish. Predominantly, he was a Malayan and was a magnificent specimen of Asian manhood.
Jose Rizal's love life. Rizal's travel across the Philippines and the world swayed him into multifarious relationships that colored almost half his life. Segunda Katigbak was her puppy love. Unfortunately, his first love was engaged to be married to a townmate Manuel Luz. After his admiration for a short girl in the person of Segunda, then came Leonor Valenzuela, a tall girl from Pagsanhan. Rizal sent her love notes written in invisible ink that could only be deciphered over the warmth of a lamp or candle. Leonor Rivera, his sweetheart for 11 years, played the greatest influence in keeping him from falling in love with other women during his travel. Unfortunately, Leonor's mother disapproved of her daughter's relationship with Rizal, who was then a known filibustero. Consuelo Ortega. Consuelo Ortega, E. is the prettier of Don Pablo Ortega's daughters, fell in love with him. The Ortega's residence in Madrid was frequented by Rizal and his compatriots. He probably fell in love with her, and Consuelo apparently asked him for romantic verses. Osei-san, a Japanese samurai's daughter, taught Rizal the Japanese art of painting known as sumei. She also helped Rizal improve his knowledge of the Japanese language. Gertrude Beckett. While Rizal was in London annotating the Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas, he boarded in the house of the Beckett family within walking distance of the British Museum. Gertrude, a blue-eyed and buxom girl, was the oldest of the three Beckett daughters. She fell in love with Rizal. Nellie boasted. Rizal, having lost Leonor Rivera, entertained the thought of courting other ladies. While a guest of the Boston family at their residence in the resort city of Biarritz, he had befriended the two pretty daughters of his host Eduardo Bosted. Their love affair unfortunately did not end in marriage. It failed because Rizal refused to be converted to the Protestant faith. Suzanne Jacobi. In 1890, Rizal moved to Brussels because of the high cost of living in Paris. In Brussels, he lived in the boarding house of the two Jacobi sisters. In time, they fell deeply in love with each other. Suzanne cried when Rizal left Brussels and wrote him when he was in Madrid. Josephine Bracken. In the last days of February 1895, while still in the Pitan, Rizal met an 18-year-old petite Irish girl with bold blue eyes, brown hair, and a happy disposition. She was Josephine Bracken, the adopted daughter of George Toffer from Hong Kong, who came to the Pitan to seek Rizal for eye treatment. Rizal was physically attracted to her. Josephine stayed with Rizal's family in Manila. Upon her return to the Pitan, Rizal tried to arrange with Father Antonio Abac for their marriage. However, the priest wanted a retraction as a precondition before marrying them. Rizal, upon the advice of his family and friends, and with Josephine's consent, took her as his wife even without the church blessings. Josephine later gave birth prematurely to a stillborn baby, a result of some incidents which might have shocked or frightened her.
Rizal's education.
Early education in Calamba and Binyan. At the age of 3, Rizal learned the alphabet from his mother. At the age of 5, while learning to read and write, Rizal already showed inclinations to be an artist. Best student in school. In academic studies, Rizal beat all Binyan boys. He surpassed them all in Spanish, Latin, and other subjects. Ateneo Municipal de Manila. Rizal was a member of the Academy of Spanish Literature and the Academy of Natural Sciences. Good education which showed the importance of religion in education. Education in Manila, University of Santo Tomas. Studied philosophy and letters during his first year. Shifted to medicine, specializing in ophthalmology when he found out that his mother was going blind. University of Santo Tomas. Rizal was unhappy at this Dominican institution of higher learning because, first, the Dominican professors were hostile to him. Second, the Filipino students were racially discriminated against by the Spaniard. Third, the method of instruction was absolute and repressive. After finishing the 4th year of his medical course, Rizal decided to study in Spain. He could no longer endure the rampant bigotry, discrimination, and hostility in the University of Santo Tomas. Education in Europe. University of Paris, France, University of Heidelberg, Germany, earned a second doctorate, inducted as a member of the Berlin Ethnological Society and the Berlin Anthropological Society under the patronage of the famous pathologist Rodolphe Virchow.
Rizal's Nolimi Tangeru. Written in Spanish and published in 1887, Jose Rizal's Nolimi Tangere played a crucial role in the political history of the Philippines. Drawing from the experience, the convention of the 19th century novel, and the ideals of European liberalism, Rizal offered up a devastating critique of the society under Spanish colonial rule. The plot revolves around Crisostomo Ibarra, mixed-race heir of a wealthy clan, returning home after 7 years in Europe and filled with ideas on how to better the lot of his countrymen. Striving for reforms, he is confronted by an abusive ecclesiastical hierarchy and the Spanish civil administrations by turning indifferent and cruel. The death of Ibarra's father, Don Rafael, prior to his homecoming, and the refusal of Catholic burial by Padre Damaso. The parish priest provokes Ibarra into hitting the priest, for which Ibarra is excommunicated. The decree is rescinded, however, when the Governor-General intervenes. The friar and his successor, Padre Salve, embody the routine state of the clergy. Their tangled feelings, one paternal, the other carnal, for Maria Clara's Ibarra's sweetheart and rich Capitan Tiago's beautiful daughter. Still, their determination to spoil Ibarra's plans for school. The town philosopher Stasio Riley notes similar past attempts have failed, and his sage commentary makes clear that all colonial masters fear that an enlightened people will grow of the yoke of oppression. Precisely how to accomplish this is the novel's central question, and one which Ibarra debates with the mysterious Elias, with whose life he is intertwined. The privileged Ibarra favors peaceful means, while Elias, who has suffered injustice at the hands of the authorities, believes violence in the only option. Ibarra's enemies, particularly Salve, implicate him in fake insurrection, though the evidence against him is weak. Then Maria Clara betrays him to protect a dark family secret, public exposure of which would be ruinous. Ibarra escapes from prison with Elias, help and confront her. She explains why. Ibarra forgives her and he, the Elias, flee to the lake. But chased by the Guardia Civil, one dies while the other survives. Convinced Ibarra's dead, Maria Clara enters the nunnery, refusing a marriage arranged by the Padre Damaso. Her unhappy fate ended the more memorable Sisa, driven mad by the fate of her sons, symbolizes the country conditions at once beautiful and miserable. Using satire brilliantly, Rizal creates another memorable characters whose lives manifest and poisonous effects of religious and colonial oppression.
Suez Canal is an artificial sea-level waterway in Egypt, connecting the Mediterranean Sea and the Red Sea. It allows ships to travel between Europe and Eastern Asia without navigating around Africa. June 2, 1882, he arrived at the Suez Canal en route to Versailles. June 3, 1882, he was quarantined on board the Gymna in the Suez Canal. June 6, 1882, it was the fourth day at Suez Canal and was still quarantined on board of the boat. June 7, 1882, Rizal arrived at Port Said. In a letter to his parents, he described his trip en route to Aden along the Suez Canal. June 11, 1882, Rizal disembarked and, accompanied by a guide, went around the city of Naples for 1 hour. This was the first European ground he set foot on. June 12, 1882, at 10 o'clock in the evening, the boat anchored at Versailles. He slept in boat. June 13, 1882, early in the morning, he landed at Versailles and boarded at the Knowles Hotel. Later, he arrived for observation. June 14, 1882, he second in Versailles. June 15, 1882, he left Versailles for Barcelona is an express train. August 20, 1882, his article Amor Patrium was published in the Diario Tagalog, a Manila newspaper edited by Basilio Teodoro. Madrid, Spain. On November 3, 1882, Rizal enrolled in the Universidad Central de Madrid. He took up medicine and philosophy and letters. Rizal then had a love affair with Consuelo Ortega y Perez, but did not flourish because he was still engaged to Leonor Rivera, Paris, France. In March 1891, Rizal is writing his second novel, El Filibusterismo in France. He planned to finish the book in volume, but was financially hard up, and his brother's support from back home was delayed in coming, and he was scrimping on bills and expenses. Finally, in September 1890, El Filibusterismo was published in Gent using donation from Rizal friends.